What's up, everyone? We're back. Week number 2.
That's right.
I know, it's back-to-back weeks with this guy on the show. That means that we have some cool stuff to show. Whenever he's sitting here, you know it's going to be a good show. We got some cool stuff. And whenever we're sitting here, it means that we have some actual stuff to reveal. So tonight, we are talking about the Legions Armory Experience. A number of people had questioned even recently, as early as I think last week in the chat, where people were like, when are we going to get the Legions Armory Experience reveal for this year? Tonight, we're going to talk about Legions Armory Experience 2025, Legends of the Coliseum.
Absolutely.
It's going to be fun. But
good.
Not only the two of us, of course, we also have someone in the back room. Joe, are you with us? Is the Joe cam ready to go? That looks like a yeah.
Yeah, we're back here. We're ready. Got lots of goodies to show. Got a little bit of a delay happening back here, so if it's a little chappy,
all right, well, we're going to take you off
we're going to
camera.
make it happen. We're going to show some awesome stuff tonight.
All right, we're going to take you off camera for a few. Joe's going to be back in a bit to do some popping and swapping. But first things first, let's go through the Legions Armory Experience. So I do have a slideshow to share with us. Greg, Greg's here as well. Big Greg is in the building. You're not actually on the live stream, are you?
I was for a second.
Can you see, because I only have one screen, all I can see is what I'm actually sharing. So can you tell me, because I can't see comments, am I seeing the Legions Armory Experience? No, we're not seeing that. Okay. Let's figure out why.
Nice and easy.
There we go. Now I think we're good to go, right?
Nope.
It's a 30-second delay.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So what we're seeing here is not what they're seeing.
Okay.
So there we go. Legions Armory Experience. Now we are good to go. And I can actually flip between the two. Nice. So for those that don't know what the Legions Armory Experience, Eric, this was something that we debuted last year at LegionsCon that was kind of a wish list item that you had for a very long time. The ability to create kind of a build-a-figure experience for Legion's parts, reminiscent of like the Droid Factory at Disney. To see that actually get executed last year for the first time, we were nervous. I remember presenting last year's Legion's Armory, and we had a giant caveat, a giant asterisk saying like, this could go spectacularly bad. We don't know. And it didn't. It went really, really well, in large part to our planning and to Joe, who's back there, and Big Greg, who's here. They did a wonderful job running that. But talk to us a little bit about seeing that actually get executed last year.
I mean, it was amazing, because it is something we have talked about around the studio for, years and years. And, we've discussed this before, but, at one point we were looking at doing it as an online experience.
Yep.
But even when we were talking about the online experience, the ultimate goal was, it'd be cool if we did the Armory, but if we could do the Armory live.
Yeah.
We just skipped the online part and went straight to the live, which, there were a lot of logistics involved with it. And so that's kind of what we didn't know if we could get through all of that. Yep. But we got through it all, and it ran without a hitch.
Yeah.
It looked cool, like walking into that room and seeing just the physical structure of it. Seeing how much fun people were having, going from bin to bin, picking out their parts. the interaction with Joe and Greg, like actually talking people through it, and it all ran very smoothly.
Yeah.
Like for something that could have been confusing, could have been daunting for some people, it was just, I think everybody just ate it up.
Yeah,
it was great.
yeah.
I saw people bringing their kids through, people going through, getting multiple builds together. It was great. It was really what we had hoped that it would be. It just kind of takes that core element of Mythic Legions, being that customizable, interchangeable aspect, and just breaking it down to its rawest form, and people being able to get their pieces there, put them together for the first time, trade, pop and swap. It was a great satisfying result with the whole thing.
And we heard so many people come up to us after and say, this was so much more fun than I expected. And that wasn't a knock on what they were expecting. It was just, they really enjoyed that experience of being able to go down this row. And you can see Big Greg here in this photo helping out. Actually, that's Mike. That's it's one of the vendors. So this was not just for attendees. Our exhibitors were really excited to do this as well. But essentially what you got to do was you went through a series of steps. So step number 1, you would choose like the torso of the character, and then that was step number 1. Step number 2, you chose like the arms and legs. And throughout this process, you put together a figure. In last year's Armory Experience specifically was focused on knights. So we're looking at here, these are some examples of the figures that you could configure last year. So there were a number of parts that were available, essentially 4 different armor colors. We had the green, the purple, the red, and kind of the gunmetal. There were parts that were exclusive to the show that you could build and make these figures. Every figure came with a weapons pack, and then at the show, they came with what we called kind of the golden gag, like a little fun item. And then what we did, and what you're seeing here in this photo, was for people that couldn't attend LegionsCon and be part of the live experience, we put together 10 pre-builds. So 10 pre-built pieces using some of the parts from the Armory that were available on our website, Store Horseman. These are actually still available. Some of them individually have sold out. Actually, a number of them individually have sold out. There are still a small number of individuals, and we do have some all-ins where you get all 10 of these figures in that. So that was the idea. Now, after the Armory Experience, because last year before LegionsCon, no one knew this was even a possibility. As soon as we did it, we heard a ton of great suggestions for what we could do this year. I heard people suggest 2.0 style figures for like female characters and some of the more slender like elves and stuff. Of course, as one would expect, the Dwarven contingent came out in force to say, Year of the Dwarf yet again. Let's have dwarves in the Armory Experience. I believe Joe back there was one of the people that was waving that Dwarven banner. Goblins, lots of people had their suggestions, all great suggestions. Yeah. One of the realities of the Legions Armory Experience is we started working on this year's Armory Experience like, I don't know what, a day or two after last year's LegionsCon?
Right. It was immediate.
It was immediate. We've already started working on next year's Armory Experience, and we haven't even fully revealed this year's to you.
Yes.
And I offer that to let you know that when we start planning this, we have to make use of the pieces that are available to us at the time, because this is one of those things where we can't miss this date. The LegionsCon exclusive figures for the year, the Armory figures, they need to be items that we know are fully tooled, ready to go, so we can have them here for that early November timeline. So take dwarves, for instance. There's a lot of new Dwarven parts coming out in the Rising Suns wave, they were off the table for us while we were planning this last year.
Right, exactly.
And that's an important thing. So when you look at this and you say, oh, these are all parts that we've seen before, these are, some older parts or whatever, that is the nature of what we have to do for this. The cool thing about this is you're going to get some parts that you've seen before in brand new colorways, brand new approaches, and it is part of that experience. Because if you're at LegionsCon, you can mix and match and build this figure. We're going to go through all the steps and show you all the options. If you aren't at LegionsCon, we will have some pre-builds that we're going to show you in a minute available this year as well. And the idea is that if you get a bunch of those, if you get an all-in like this, you can actually mix and match and pop these apart yourself at your house and kind of create your own in-home armory experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think, you said there's, there's pieces that are in colorways that they haven't been released before. And I think a lot of the color selections here and the parts combinations really just redefine how some of these pieces are used. It's honestly in ways on some of these that I would have never thought of before, but the requirements, that the physical requirements of making a functional armory create decisions that you may not have otherwise made, which works well for us. Like, the unexpected sometimes really turns out to be some of the best pieces.
Yeah, for sure. So on Monday of this week, we shared this teaser. This was announcing tonight's show and announcing the Legions Armory Experience for this year with the theme Legends of the Coliseum. So there's a little bit of kind of story lore that we wrote that I won't read here tonight. It's available on our Instagram page. But essentially what we said was, the Coliseum at Mercurios, that had a long history. It was created initially to be a training ground for the army of Laodiceus. But over the years, as the official status or the purpose of the Coliseum fell away, it really did become kind of an arena for blood sport and spectacle. And there's a lot of great stuff that we've written about the Coliseum at Mercurios. There's a bunch that's in the book. There's going to be a bunch that's in the role-playing game. So it's definitely a key place. And the idea behind this particular wave was that there are stories, even though the Coliseum has fallen since, many years ago, led by Atlas the Conqueror and his rebellion, there are these legends of the Coliseum, these stories that are still told about the gladiators that fought and bled within its walls. And the idea behind this is, whether you're talking about the 10 pre-built figures, I keep saying 10 because I'm thinking of last year, the 6 pre-built figures that we have available, or whether we're talking about the combinations people make at the event, these are characters that could be part of the history. These are the legends of the Coliseum. So they're not important named characters. They're characters that have, in some cases, been lost to the history books, but we're bringing them back. You're going to bring them back as part of your stories.
Yeah, it's a nice open-ended narrative build here, where, it's like exactly like you said, you can build your customs, and they could have absolutely lived within this world, which. Again, it just speaks to what Mythic Legions is, and just that interactive element of it, like, just goes even beyond this actual figure building process. It goes into like potential stories, which, just like, next level on it.
And I will also point out that we wanted to do something different than last year. We didn't just want to come back and do another round of knights. Like, we really did want to change it up a little bit. So going with these gladiator type characters, I mean, they're not barbarians per se, but there's obviously a very barbarian like aspect. Barbarians and gladiators share a lot design wise in some cases.
Yeah, especially in our world.
Yeah, for sure. So what you're seeing here is the teaser. Let's expand this a little bit. These are the 6 pre-built figures that are going to be available from this year's Legions Armory Experience. We're going to dig into these individually a little bit more. But the first thing that you clearly will see here is 6 different figures, 6 different like flesh colors. Very different than last year, because last year we had the different armor colors, 4 different armor colors, but there were intentionally no flesh parts, no bear parts. Because one of the challenges with bear parts in putting together the armory is one bear part that's a certain flesh color doesn't really mesh with a different flesh color. Unless you're going for a, flesh golem Frankenstein style character, that's going to limit the combination. So we had to think about, how do we do this for this year and add those flesh colors? And what you're going to see is the way that you select parts is a little bit different than last year. But one of the exciting things, you're seeing the 6 pre-builds that we have here. So we've got going kind of from the lower level to the top level. We've got kind of the vampire white color. We've got the lighter flesh colored. We've got that greenish orc color. We've got a darker flesh color. We've got that red, very Fury Clan. And then finally at top, we have that kind of like ashen gray type skin. But one of the cool things that we haven't shown you yet is last year, every one of the knights came with a single head, right? It came with a helmeted head. One of the cool things with this year is by doing the different colored flesh, we could also give you different heads. So the first image showed all of the helmets that the pre-builds come with, but they actually also come with the bear heads. So what you're seeing here is those same 6 pre-builds, but with the bear heads. So we've got that, and we talked about presenting parts that you've seen before in new ways. So we've got an orc head, but we've never painted an orc head with that vampire white type color. So that's a really fun, like, what is that? Is that a vampire orc? Is that an albino orc? Like there's a lot of cool things that you can use in your own kind of headcanon. We had to put Magnus in here. I mean, he is the most interesting man in Mythos. There was no way that we could do a lineup of bare-chested gladiators and Magnus, or maybe an ancestor of Magnus, not come into this somehow. So we've got the Magnus head presented with that kind of whiter hair and beard, maybe an older looking character.
Yeah.
Possibly my favorite, and again, we're going to look at these in a little more detail, but possibly my favorite is that demon, that green demon. And you know what? I'm going to go off this slide actually, because we're going to look at them individually. I think that'll make more sense.
Yeah, they look small here. So
yeah. So we were just talking about the Magnus here, and after we go through the pre-builds and we get to Joe and everything, we're going to start seeing what the individual parts are, because just like last year, one of the things to realize is the parts that are in the pre-builds, they are also in the Legions Armory live experience, but there's a lot of parts in the Armory experience live that are not part of the pre-build. So I know last year Kirby made that wonderful kind of configurator thing where people were able to pre-plan what their builds are going to be and determine what they wanted to go after at the show. Without a doubt, the ones that are exclusive to the show are probably going to be in high demand.
I would think so.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll talk about the logistics of how the configurator is going to work towards the end of the show. For right now, just know that this is something that happens at LegionsCon 2025. That takes place on November 8th and 9th this year in Whippany, New Jersey. But this is the first of the pre-builds we'll look at, kind of that Magnus style head. The second one we just addressed a minute ago. This is that kind of vampire orc. I think it's worth pointing out that this was one of Joe's, additions to the armory. That helmeted head, which was the hidden head, the secret head that came with the Ghost of Jacob Marley, that was selected to be a part of this. And then Joe wanted to put those little magic effects in there. So all of the versions of that head in this come with those magic effects. They are fully removable, so you can pop them out depending how you want to display.
Yeah, I mean, that's another great example of how the smoke effect is existing, the head's existing. putting them, and of course that head was on a build that was nothing like this. So you take a build like this, put that head on, mix the effects, the magic effects with it, and then it just completely reimagines what you've seen with those parts before. And it just, it's a great build.
It is. Speaking of great builds, we left off at this one. This might be my favorite one. So this demon head, we've seen it a few times before. It's two of our important characters, Azar and Zazar from the Circle of Poxus. We also painted it red as part of the All-Stars 5 head pack, but painting it green here, absolutely love how that looks on this build. I also really love looking at the legs on this one. This has got those armored legs with the leather boots, which the first time we saw that recently was on the SDCC, the Mythic Legions role-playing game, Heroic Paladin. And that's been a huge hit. People have loved that. So the fact that we get these in the Armory Experience is very cool.
Yeah, I'm more excited about those being added to our parts library than I should be. There's just, to me, that it's just like classic fantasy, just that leather boot over the armor leg like that.
So cool.
And it just, seeing it here again, it's a very different look than if that was just a fully armored lower leg. Like it just, putting that organic material like back down at the base of the figure, like it balances it out in a different way. I also do love the way like this green color and the paint effect with the fade and everything on it. All of a sudden, to me at least, this demon starts looking very reptilian, which is a cool transformation because it's been in very unnatural colors up to this point. So again, part that goes all the way back to wave 1, but looks so new here with this presentation.
It's fun. On the topic of colors, when we get to Joe and look at Pop and Swaps, he's going to talk about some of the color matches that were done for these intentionally. So like what existing figures these are really close to. Before we move on, I will point out, speaking of Joe, not only did he contribute the magic effects for the eyes to these, he also suggested the addition of the tails, which created possibly the most unsettling part in this entire configurator, which we'll get to in a little bit. Works really well on this figure, really weird on some others. So the next one we've got here is this kind of Fury Clan elf. So again, this is a head that we've seen on Lord Bardrick before. And this is one of the cool things about the configurator, I'm still, years in, I'm still calling it that, working name. The Armory Experience. Bardrick is a named character. Possibly a head that we're really not going to use on another one of our figures like anytime soon. But because the Armory Experience kind of almost lives outside of our lore, but inside our lore, kind of exists in a place similar to some of the tribute figures we do, where it allows us to put a part in there that we may not put into a regular, like major character as an extra head. It's really cool to be able to see that here and see how different that head looks in this presentation.
This one, I actually haven't looked at these in a bit, so that they're hitting me like a little fresh right now. Like, this transformation is wild to me. Like, because again, it's the color. He was before he was a very peaceful, like kind of calming presence. Here, not only like he's got this black and red, like heavy metal color scheme, and then on top of it, he's got the muscle build and stuff. So he becomes a very kind of more menacing, aggressive presence here than I ever would have thought you could have accomplished with that Bardrick head.
Even like the pieces, and we actually have them right in front of us, but even like these design pieces in his head, where on the original version they look like very organic, like trees, like branches and stuff like that, and then on here painted like this they almost look like bone.
Right.
It's a very, very, very cool approach for that. Last two, we've got this version here, which, I mean, I love that gladiator helmet that originally came with Calavius, that combination of those skull shoulder pads and then that Zende with the face paint on it, and some of the other things that this matches. I think Joe's got a pretty cool pop and swap lined up to show us for this one. So really cool addition to this as well. I actually, when I shared the teaser, this particular figure was largely under the Legions Armory Experience logo, so you couldn't see the flesh color. And I saw a few people, including our good friend Bill Dorklier, say that he was hoping that there was a darker flesh option. So I shared kind of a looser crop of that so you could see that flesh, and it got a great reaction.
You know, one thing, just looking at these, you know, the muscular body parts on this are the newer, you know, more updated parts that I think first were with Anubis.
Yep.
And excuse me. But so a lot of these flesh colors, you know, the ability to get this newer build in some of these colors that you may not have seen before. You know, even if you wanted this to help a Calavius update or you know, whatever, just looking at all the possibilities here.
People have wanted a Calavius with 2 unarmored arms for a while. And, you know, the actual Calavius comes with one armored and one armored and one unarmored. You could absolutely use this and kind of make Calavius.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if the flesh is 100% a match, but if you did an armored leg or a pant leg or something like that, you know, this could be
a version of Calavius in your headcanon. It's not meant to be Calavius, just have a similar helmet. And the last one we have here is this demon one. Yes, by the way, that helmet would not realistically fit on that demon's head. He's a demon. I don't know, maybe his horns disappear magically when he puts on a hat. Who knows? I get it. It's a cool figure. Okay. Logistically, I understand this may not. Maybe these are 2 different characters.
That could be.
Okay.
Shapeshifter.
But yeah, so we get that head that originally came with Belphegor. We've used it on the Demistros figure. That was the PowerCon debut figure we did a while, PowerCon exclusive figure a few years ago. But again, another cool new look at this particular part in the line.
Yeah, I mean, I have always been a big fan of that head.
Yeah.
It's just something about it. Every once in a while, like one just like clicks a certain way, and that one did. And so every time we get to see that in the new color scheme, I'm all for it.
Yeah, very cool. So now let's look. Those are the pre-builds. So those are the 6 figures that will be available as part of the after the show. So sometime in 2026, we will make those available at Store Horseman. They'll be available as single figures. So you can buy, if you just want, you know, this kind of vampire orc, if you just want this green demon reptilian kind of guy, you can totally get just them. Or similar to last year, or this year, I should say, we will also do an all-in where you can get all 6 of them at once.
Are these factory samples?
These are factory samples. So yeah. So what we're actually looking at here are the factory samples. These are on the way to us soon or now. These are the factory samples we got for final approvals.
I'm looking at that one with the paint fades, and I wasn't sure.
Yeah, these are not the ones we painted. These are the ones from them. So let's look now at what the selections are going to be. So if you are at LegionsCon, what we are going to do is very similar to last year. It's going to be the exact same place that we did it last year, that little side room. There is going to be a line of people to get into the Legions Armory Experience. Now, last year, we made a whole big deal about giving out tickets because we didn't know what to expect. We didn't know how long it was going to take. What we didn't understand is that Joe and Greg are certified rock stars, and they got people through. People came in, and we knew that there was a chance that they would take too long and slow up the process. But the combination of Kirby's kind of pre-built configurator, so people knew what they were doing, and just the menacing awesome of Greg and Joe got people through there so quickly. I'm being silly, but the reality was we got people through there very efficiently. So by day 2, we said we don't need tickets anymore.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't need to do that.
Scary.
Dude, I'm a little loopy. I had a really long day. I'm a real punchy.
Like I worry people.
I'm real punchy.
Wow. Is that it?
Joe, there have been multiple times that you've looked at me and had to say, I'm not mad. This is just how my face is.
It's the Western Joe face.
You've said that to me multiple times.
I like how you're still talking to the camera, even though
Oh,
it's full screen.
I'm on right now. There will be a line at LegionsCon, and LegionsCon is just under 10 weeks away at this point. We'll talk more as we get closer about some of the logistics for LegionsCon, but just know there's multiple lines that you can get in. One of the lines will be for the Legions Armory Experience, and this is the breakdown. So step number 1, you select the upper body. So we have to keep all the flesh parts together. So that's one selection. And the 6 choices that you have available are the exact same 6 choices that are in the pre-build. So there's nothing here. There's nothing in this selection that's not also available in the pre-builds. One thing I will point out is every one of these figures comes with 2 sets of hands. So you get the open expressive hands and you get the gripping hands. And this is what I was talking about earlier, where Joe had suggested, hey, let's include tails for these figures. So a tail makes sense for that green demon and for that gray demon. I mean, I guess you could say that the Fury Clan elf is looks a little devilish. Yeah, he can get one. I mean, heck, even that white orc. But when we painted that one up to match the Magnus flesh, I was like, that is weird. Like, that is creepy. But if you put that tail on that character, it completely transforms him into some really uncomfortable demon type character.
I mean, the Zende,
that one too,
as well.
That one too.
And, yeah, those are weird accessories.
Yeah, they are.
But it also would have been weird to leave them out.
Yeah.
So
we didn't want to say, oh, it only comes with these couple. So we painted up. So that's the tail that originally came with Malfar. It comes with every one of these. So that's choice number 1.
It's another piece that hasn't been.
No, we haven't used it again.
Yeah.
Now, if you're looking at this and you're like, oh, this is easy, there's 6 options. Don't worry. We're going to overwhelm you in just a few moments. Step number 2 is select the lower body. There are 16 options available. Now, while this initially may feel a little bit daunting, if you break this down, what you're going to realize is there's 4 different leg styles. We've identified them here. Style number 1 is kind of the fabric legs with the leather boots. Very popular configuration. You know, we first saw it on the Jacob Marley figure. It's been on a handful since then, but it's one that a lot of customizers and pop and swappers and so really, really enjoy. Option number 2 is the fabric pants with those armored lower legs. We first saw them on Lord Bardrick and Valak. Again, very popular options here as well. A little more armored than that first option. Option number 3 is what we talked about, what we first saw on the Heroic Paladin, the armored upper legs with the leather boots. And then option number 4 is the fully armored legs. And what we tried to do is there's not only 4 different parts configurations, there's kind of 4 different color schemes. We're going to see these color schemes kind of flow through some of these selections. You know, we've got, if you look down at the bottom there, the number 4, that's the easiest one to talk about. That first option, I call that kind of the blood armor because it's very reminiscent of that Vorgus Vermilius 1 figure.
Jeremy, are you showing beside yourself? Are you showing another screen because it's not popping up? Only you guys are popping up.
So that would probably be why my phone is going crazy right now. But I haven't gone to it yet. So
folks hit me up.
Yep. So I just went through all of that stuff without showing any of what we were talking about.
So
awesome.
So you looking at the screen actually.
Yeah, that was amateur hour. This is the first selection that we were talking about. The 6 different body styles with the 2 sets of hands and the tails. Option number 2 or step number 2 is the lower legs. What we were saying was there are the 4 different kinds of leg styles. Style 1, talked about the fabric pants with leather boots. Style 2, the armored lower legs, just the kind of the greaves on the leather boots like we got on Bardrick and Valak. Step 3, the armored legs and knees with the leather boots. And then step 4, option 4, the fully armored lower legs. What we were talking about was the 4 different colors. In general, we've got the blood armor. That second one, maybe a little tough to see here in this photo, but it's kind of a dirty gunmetal. It's an effect that in the past, I've called it the Urzok effect. Like I've done tutorials, painting tutorials and so forth with how to paint that. It's one that I love because it's not real hard to achieve on a custom and it looks really, really good. This is similar to that. It's got a little bit of distress and a little bit of dirt to that kind of metal color. Number 4, the third one there actually is kind of like the Black Knight Legion Builder type color, that glossy black. Yeah. And then, of course, we get the silver armor. So that's going to be step number 2 is selecting the lower body. So you've selected the upper body, you selected the lower body. Step number 3 is select the armor. Once again, feels a little daunting because there's, again, 16 different options. But if we break it down further, there's really 4 different sets of armor and 4 different colors. So each one of these sets of armor, it's going to come with, obviously, the waist armor piece, a set of shoulder pauldrons. It actually has 2 different sets of wrist armor. So when you select the torso, these are the fully bare lower arms. Yep. They're not the half cuts at the lower arm here where it's like a gauntlet. So what we did is we've included these pieces that first came on the tuberculi, where it's this removable armor. And because each figure comes with both 2 kind of wrist cuffs and 2 kind of more armored pieces, you can mix and match. When you looked at the pre-builds, all the pre-builds come with both of these. For the example of the photos, Joe put them together, with some having both of one or one of each to give a little bit of variety, but you're going to get that with all of them. And once again, we've got kind of that Vorgus Vermilius blood armor. We've got more of that Urzaki type dirty, scuffed up armor. We've got that silver armor, and you can see here it's got some blue elements in it. And then we've got that shiny leather, black leather type piece. So 3 different, step 3 is you're going to select the armor. I'm just going to check my phone to make sure I'm not doing something stupid again. People are messaging me, telling me I'm doing something stupid. Step number 4, you select the helmet. This is the one where you're really going to see a lot of these are only at LegionsCon. This is definitely a bonus. If you're coming to the show, you have access, at least early on, to all of these, because some of these will sell out. We only have a set number of all of them, so the earlier you get to the armory, the more likely everything will be available. Throughout the day, on Saturday, and certainly into Sunday, some of these are going to sell out. If you look at these 16 different helmets, 4 different styles, 4 colors for each, there are 6 of them that come in the pre-builds. 2 from the top row, 1 from the second and third row, and then 2 of those Magic Eye skulls from the bottom. All of the rest are only going to be available at LegionsCon as part of those parts.
That's a cool picture like that. I mean, for something that's called the Armory, that's a great shot.
It is.
To exemplify, just the entire concept.
That's a lot of heads.
Yeah. It is. It really is. And it's, again, you look at each one of those individual helmets and just how different they look.
Yep.
From paint job to paint job.
Yep. And it's an interesting mix. I mean, that first helmet, that's only been available on the Deluxe Gladiator Legion Builder. So to now see 4 different takes on that is really cool. Similar, that bottom one, that skull was only the bonus part, the secret part in the Marley set. So those are 2 pieces. Obviously, we've seen the Mercurian helmet a number of times, but it's a very popular one. And there's 4 brand new approaches for it, 4 brand new colors.
Yeah. I mean, that bottom one, the Marley bonus head, like I've seen so many amazing customs done with that. So, for people to get another shot at that head, I think, I think you're going to see some great stuff coming out of that.
Yeah. So those are really the selections. Those are the 4 selections that you're going to make. Select the upper body, select the lower body, select the armor parts that kind of connect them together, and then select what is basically your second head, because you get the head that comes in the first set. But there are 2 more steps here, and every figure comes with a weapons pack and kind of a belt pack, to be honest with you. You get 4 every one of these, and these weapons are going to come in both the pre-built figures, and these are going to be a bag of weapons that you don't have to pick a couple of these. Everything you see in this photo comes with the armory figures. So you get the 4 different belts, you get that sword, you get that bearded axe, that weapon that can either be a hammer or a mace, depending what you put on the top of it, and then you get the shield.
That's a great pack.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Nice little pack. Like I said, one of the things that's cool here is these are bare-chested figures, but they've got the pauldrons. You can put these belts on so it looks like the belts are holding on the pauldrons. If you don't want to use the pauldrons, you can put the belts on in a bunch of cool configurations. Just this alone, these pieces alone are going to give you the ability to mix and match. Yeah, that's what I said. It's almost like a little mini weapons pack and a little mini belts pack thrown in together. Now, the moment that everyone's been waiting for, no, not the Joe Pop and Swap, we're going to get to that in a moment, is the Golden Gag Gift. So these are items that are only available at LegionsCon. Last year, what we did was we created these little gold accessories that are only part of the experience. Every time you configure a figure, you get to pick one. And I should mention that, similar to last year, in the spirit of getting people through, every time through the armory, while you won't need a ticket, it'll be a line of people, and we'll be letting people in, a few at a time and keeping the line moving. You'll be able to build 2 figures. So you can get in line as many times as you want. You can build as many gladiators as you want. In fact, there should be a contest for who builds the most. No, in all seriousness, you can build as many as you want. The reason we limit it to 2 per time through is just to keep that line moving. Somebody coming in and building 20 of them, which people did last year across multiple trips, we don't want that person to spend so much time they're holding up everybody. And we don't want them to have access to all of the rarest parts if they're early. We don't want to, one person's not going to buy us out of anything, but we don't want them to deplete us to a point where other people. Yeah, really. So the last part is the golden gift. 5 different things. You will choose one of these for every figure you can figure. We've got the rat. We've got the toy, the holly leaf, the book, and the golden apples. Nice little mix of parts. And again, these are meant to just be kind of a fun little keepsake that you put with your figure, whether you display them with them or not. We certainly don't imagine that a lot of these gladiators are using golden toys in their arena battles. But these are fun little things that you can only get at LegionsCon. And that, Eric, is the Legions Armory Experience, Legends of the Coliseum. Very, very excited for this. And again, seeing the picture of those 6 gladiators, there's a shot from your brother Brad. Very excited for this.
Yeah, I mean, especially after doing that little recap there and looking at the similar image of the knights from last year, and now seeing basically your class of 25 with it. I really like how well the 2 complement each other, but it also really shows the contrast between the 2. Like, this is a very different group of characters, very different combination of colors, combination of parts. So same concept that everybody enjoyed so much, but a
Mhm.
different dimension. And I can't wait to see what
Yeah.
type of builds people do with these when they really get the pieces and run with it.
Did see a question where someone asked where the book is from. That is one of the books from the Poxus Wave.
Mhm.
And someone asked if the apples are 3 separate pieces. No, they're all together. Those are actually pieces from the Figure Obscura Ganesha figure.
Yeah.
They're all together. All those are together. Now, with that, I'm going to take this down, and we're going to go to the back. We're going to go to the Joe cam, because Joe's got literally all of these parts laid out, and he's prepared some different pop and swaps, and he can talk to us a little bit about some of the skin colors. Let's go to him right now.
Yeah, we're back here. We're ready. We have some good stuff to show, including
Okay,
weird
Joe,
flesh tails there.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to put myself
There you go.
off camera, and I'm going to let you run this for a little bit.
All right. So yeah, I just want to go over for a moment some of the flesh matches that we had, and those are. We originally had the red Krampus. It was the only time that you could get this red torso. And then we had the Fury Work, very similar red colors. We try to get this flesh tone to match that as close as we could. Anytime we do a match, they always come out just a teeny bit different, but this color will work well with either one of these figures.
Joe, if I can just point out
What I
one
was able
thing.
to do with a combination of this guy and this guy was put this funky guy together. Because I wanted a red demon. And we could do that with the army parts, and excuse me a second, get this more back here, but these have very good fits. That is the All-Stars 5 head pack demon head. So you can make a really awesome looking demon out of that. Now the flesh is a little bit different. You're going to have some texture on the arms and the torso. That is not on the legs because it's an older style leg. But once it's on the shelf and far away, it is kind of hard to tell. You'll notice the tail. This came with Malphar first, and it's the only time it's been used until now. You will need to heat up the backside for this to fit in there, but once it's in, it stays in there pretty well. So you get a pretty awesome looking demon out of this guy. Also out of the head pack was this vampire gladiator I had thrown together. So this flesh tone also matches Varg very well. So if you wanted to, you can switch out the arms. Remember, the flesh tone is going to be a different texture, but if you wanted to toss these wings on this guy, you could. So you get a pretty nasty looking figure going there. Again, all of this is armory parts, except for the wings and the head from the head pack. And just one more from the head pack. I think this flesh tone went really well with the cat parts. Just the variation of this kind of bluish gray with the black fur works really well. All right, for our original African flesh tones, these are what people have now, Anubis and Clavius. And now we have this one. It's slightly darker, and it is not a match for any of these. It is a new flesh tone. Now, when I originally saw this guy, I thought, you know what? He's a pretty wicked looking warrior, but I see a wizard. So immediately they had to go on a wizard. So just having these extra heads around, it's pretty fun. So this guy's an amalgam of a whole bunch of stuff going on. We have mostly retailer Marley, the skirt from one of the Cosmic Aliens, and a cape from, I think that is a mirror. So you get a pretty awesome wizard head from this as well when you have this gladiator fully armored. Now for the red armor, we've done this a little bit different. So this is, I'm sorry about the focus here. I'm trying to get a little closer. There we go. It just takes a little time for that to kick in. So we have the new Vorgus here, and here's the old style Vorgus. Maybe a little hard to tell, but there's a little variation. This guy's a little more reddish orange, and this one's kind of dull. We wanted to pick an armor color that was kind of in between. So if you wanted to have this red armor go those, you could. It's close but not an exact match, but it's a good in between, so it can work with any of those. And as you see here, I swapped off the head to that awesome kind of ethereal emitting skull. And the pauldrons and the belt here are from the armory. So if you had an extra one of these guys around, you can make this pretty wicked looking knight. Now, while we're talking about that skull head, another figure that will be available at LegionsCon is the Crossroads Revenant. There we go. And I would say that the armor color works really well with the Revenant. So you can make this kind of haunted armor. It's a really wicked looking guy. Not quite yellow, closer to orange, kind of fiery emission there. Yeah, really happy this works out. And of course, with that Revenant, you have a bunch of extra parts that you can toss onto your armory figures as well. So it's definitely worth picking up another one of these guys to mix with your armory parts. I might have pointed this out on Friday recently. The good old Black Knight. Now I switched off the head because I didn't have the helmet available. But this glossy black armor is going to work really well with all the black armor that's in the armory. Now here I switched off the legs, the belt, the loin, and the pauldrons and helmet to this. And it's all glossy. It goes very well with it. It's turning a Legion builder figure. It's just kind of stepping it up a little bit, adding some more detail. Love the multicolors and the plume here. So you can have your totally different knight. Now the silver parts in the armory set work really well with Adalric. There's a slight black wash to them, so any one of these parts will work well with your Adalrics. So if you wanted to have an Adalric that's a little more undead, I tossed the skull face in there and the damaged visor. You have these beat up pauldrons. This set works really well with that. And another silver armor type that works really well is Sir Godfrey. So the silver matches pretty close. We managed to swap off the legs here. They go with the arms a bit because you have some darker colors in the arms. It doesn't have a wash, but the armor does. So that goes really well together. If you wanted to swap out the tunic, you can do that. But as far as figures that exist, Sir Godfrey is it's a pretty good match along with Sir Adalric for all of the silver armor pieces in the armory. This one is all armory parts, but here's another type of demon of sorts. It almost looks monochrome, so I'm really happy with that. I like to toss those together every now and then. But I felt like this is a situation where when you don't see a fully human head, we still have this tail in this color, it still really works when you try to get everything to stay within the same color scheme. And we wanted to do this red not in the same exact type as Armory. Here we go. So here's Armory red with the new Armory red. You can tell they're very different. They are a little bit similar in the leather. It's not exactly the same because the texture is going to make it different. It's closer to the leather than it is to the metal. But hey, while we this is actually an idea I got from Vern when I was sending pictures of what I was messing around with. And once I saw it, I'm like, all right, this needs to happen once I have it at home. But let's say if Lord Bardrick went to the dark side, there you go. I think that head works really well with this build. So this is the red leather Armory Knight that I think is available in these parts exactly when it was a packaged figure. So just as far as having monochromatic, mixing those colors, it works pretty well. So when I get this guy, he's going to have this head, and we're going to have that All-Stars 5 head pack on this body. And I think a lot of people have a couple of those Fury Works laying around, so that's going to be a pretty easy build. And just one more I wanted to show. The green that we chose for this is very close to the Video Game Mail Orc Builder set on the front. But on the back, I'd like to point out that there's a transition to a darker flesh, which makes it work really well for a demon and makes it stand apart from other orcs that we've had before. But if you wanted to, you can still use it as an orc. It could just be another type that's out there. And as you can see, you know, that video game pack comes with a lot of extra heads, and that absolutely works as an alternate body for all those extra orc heads you have if you have the War of the Aether Blade figure. So I think that's a lot of fun. Always nice to see new orcs in the batch. And just because I couldn't help myself, we have the Mistros here. I was really curious to see how he works with the Armory head, because you have a lot of similar color schemes going on. I think that looks pretty wicked. That's something I may end up doing because this head's probably going to end up on some weird Terpiculi build with that bone tone going. Oh, there we go. Still adjusting to some new camera work here. But yeah, that's what I have so far. I could try to take some requests. It's just going to take a moment to get some things together. But yeah, have any questions, shoot them. I'm going to try to stay on the thread here and see if I can answer anyone's questions as we go along.
Awesome, Joe. So I'm going to bring Joe down for a minute. If you have some requests in the chat there, he doesn't have everything available at his fingertips over there, but we'll see what we can do. But ultimately, I mean, I was talking about how these parts are older parts that we've seen before. I mean, not all of them are older. Some of them are actually very new. But they're parts we've seen before presented in new ways. And then seeing Joe combine some of those pieces like that almost like Shadow Demistros at the end. It's just a head swap. And it's a very cool new look for that. So really, really dig the options that are available with these figures. I think being at LegionsCon and being able to mix and match is going to be exciting. But then once you get home and you add some of these, if you buy some extras and you add some of these to your other pieces in your collection in fodder bins, a lot of possibilities there as well.
Yeah, because people are going to be at LegionsCon without their collection. Yeah,
Yeah.
so like they're going to be able to get home and go wild with it.
Yep. Do we have a green demon? So the only green demon that we have is Azahazar, and that's ogre scale. So that would not scale with these. I don't know if you're just curious about the color match, but it definitely, you couldn't swap these parts with it. We're just going to need Joe to be available 24/7 until the con so we can ask questions for these to build with. How many waist armor pieces are available? So 16. So we've got all 16 of the pieces here. What we had shown was there's basically 4 different styles, 4 colors of each. So you get 16 different possibilities throughout this armory experience. Joe, when you are back there, one request we got from Dorkley, I don't know if you have this, was the original Bardric head on the dark skin build. My gut tells me that the new darker flesh is darker, considerably darker than Bardric was, but that's one request we've got. And actually, I think we've got it right here. And it looks like I might be totally incorrect.
I would have thought.
I would say it's close enough to work, but the face is just a little bit lighter. But about from 3 feet back, it's hard to tell. And I think a lot of that has to do with just the texture of the flesh on the face compared to the chest, because you do have a lot of texture there while the face is, relatively smooth in comparison. So whenever you use a wash on, even if it's the same color, it's going to show up a little bit darker. So it's doable, but it's not an exact match.
Yeah, excellent, Joe. Joe, one request we have, I don't know if you have a heroic paladin back there. Someone, Terrence, was asking if they could see the Mercurian helmet on the heroic paladin. The black and yellow Mercurian helmet is what they are curious about. So just checking what some of the comments here. While Joe runs in the background. Soul Power says, damn, that's my new Bardric. If the Rock was an elf.
Bardric.
Will the tail come in multiple colors? It actually will. So one of the things that we showed is the first option that you've got in the selection process. Step number 1, you select the upper body. So because we had wanted to do the tail for a couple of the more demonic looking ones, we just included it with all of them. So all 6 of the colors will have corresponding Malfar tails with them. So absolutely, yes, that is part of it. Is the lighter white helmets a match with Ignatius? No, Ignatius, Joe had said that the silver, they're closer to like a Dalric, he said. Ignatius is that very like pearlescent type color. It's very, very different. I mean, if you're trying to mix and match parts and you're intentionally like, certain parts are that pearlescent and other parts are more of just a straight silver, that could absolutely work. But if you're looking for a straight color match, they will be definitely different. Will these be $45 retail like the last Armory Wave was on Store Horseman? That is the goal. We're still waiting to get all of our final pricing on some of these things to make sure that we can still hit that. They will be certainly around there, and that's what we are shooting for, that it will be the same price as last year. Can I show the Armory selections again? I will come back to that, but first we're going to go to the Joe Cam to see what he's got for us. Joe, you are live right now.
All right, so here we have that black Mercurian helmet on the new Paladin. I think that looks pretty cool. If this T-tail was painted up gold, I think it would work exceptionally well with that. So anyone who's good with one of those paint markers or a brush can knock that out really easy. And it's hard to go wrong with black and silver too. It's really compatible with so many things. But yeah, I would say that works out pretty well. While we have it here, I'll just switch out to the super bright silver helmet. Why not? Because it's right here. It'd be a pretty fun look. Let's see. That's not bad at all. I think maybe with a taller neck, which is included with this set, but I don't have it available immediately right now, that would work out pretty well.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Joe. I don't know if you've got a Jersey Devil back there. Obviously, our latest figure obscura. Someone was asking for the black demon head on the Jersey Devil. Now, we won't be able to use the neck because of the kind of the configuration. It wouldn't fit correctly, but without the neck part that pegs in, that black demon of the Belphegor head on the Jersey Devil, that might be a cool one and very appropriate since the Jersey Devil, as of this broadcast, is still available at storehorseman.com. Limited numbers. We did our second drop last Friday, so there are still a limited number of those. But someone did ask about the armory selection. So while Joe's putting that together, let's look at those armory selections. Step number one, you've got 6 options for the upper body, 6 different flesh colors. These are all identical to the options that will be part of the 6 pre-build. So nothing you see here is exclusive to the live experience. Step number 2, you're going to select the lower body. Now, this is where we do start getting certain parts that are exclusive. I haven't designated which ones are only at LegionsCon and which ones will be available as part of the pre-builds. If you compare these images to the pre-builds, you can make that determination for yourself. But what we did say was to make this a little bit easier, if you break this down, there's basically 4 different configurations of parts for the lower leg. So that's what you've got here. You can see those 4 different options. Selecting the armor, once again, 16 options for the armor, but it really breaks down into 4 different kinds of armor and 4 different colors. And if this is going a little fast, do not worry. We're going to post all of this on our social accounts. If you're not following us on Instagram already, you definitely want to do that because that is a great source on Facebook, on Instagram. Those are our social channels, our primary social channels where we post all this stuff. Tomorrow, I'll be posting, after this broadcast, I'm going to post some images of the pre-builds. And then tomorrow, I'll post all of this step-by-step stuff. So that's selection number 3. Step number 4, you select the helmet. Once again, 16 different options to choose from, 4 styles, 4 colors for each. The last 2 steps, they really aren't selections. Actually, the last one is. Step number 6 is a selection. Step number 5 isn't. Step number 5 is you get a weapons pack. So you get these 4 belts and these weapons as part of every build you do. And then the final choice, step number 6, is there are these 5 different golden gags or golden gifts. You get to pick one of those for every single one that you configure. So those are the step-by-step kind of breakdown of how you're going to do this at LegionsCon 2025. Joe looks like he's still back there, heating some stuff up and doing some popping and swapping. I hear that heat gun going. Let's just look. Cloud saying, still bummed I missed out on that Paladin. You did not miss out on the Paladin, Cloud. You may have just missed out on the first offering of the Paladin. Right. Once again, that heroic Paladin / cleric is going to be part of the Kickstarter in February for Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. We've actually released a very small percentage of the run for that figure, so do not fret. Let's see. Yeah, you get, that's the whole part of this. The whole point of this is lots of different options for you to build these at LegionsCon this year. Headless Horseman pumpkin head on the Green Demon. Do we have a Headless Horseman behind us? We do. I can do that one for you. Look at me. Boom. It's cool.
That's cool.
That is actually pretty cool. So there you go. We got the flaming pumpkin. This is the retailer one. I'm not sure which one Dorklair meant, but this is clearly the right one to use because it's got the green flames from the retailer version. Yeah, that looks
Perfect for the season.
perfect for, yeah, absolutely. Very seasonally appropriate. All right, let's see what else we got here for comments. Let's see. Red Cosmic Magnus. We don't have one of those up there.
No.
The ATL, not ATL, the Kirby saying, any chance we might see him at LegionsCon? I don't know who you're referring to. I don't know who I was talking about at that point where you asked that question. No problem, Joe. You do what you got to do. Holding things down over here. Let's see. Will the Paladin be at LegionsCon? That one I can answer no. So the Paladin, that was available at San Diego Comic-Con as the first offering. The next time it's going to be available, or the rest of that run that we did, because we did a certain number up front, that will be available in February as part of the Kickstarter for the game. That was really made as a figure for the game. And once we get to reveal more about our plans for Mythic Legions, the role-playing game, you're going to really start to see like, oh, I get what this is. I get how this fits in to everything going on. But that will not be available at any future shows. It was just San Diego and then the Kickstarter for the game. So that will be your next chance. So we had a request here where someone was asking, this kind of neat too.
Yeah, that works.
So we have like this version, and we can do this version as well. So this is, of course, the head that came on, appropriately enough, the LegionsCon exclusive figure for last year called Tusk Experiment AA20. The standard version of this figure is still available actually at storehorseman.com. So if this is something you think looks pretty cool and you need one of those heads, that's available as well. Like so many of the figures, it comes with multiple heads. So it's not like you're sacrificing the head. You're going to have a headless figure. Plenty of heads to put on these things. No, do not worry about that. Let's see. Feeling FOMO for not being able to afford the LegionsCon trip this year. Sorry to hear that. You'll be missed, but hopefully we'll get to see you next year. Let's see. So I feel like this is a plant in the questions for Greg. Will Sir Utchuk be available at LegionsCon? I can actually tell you, I don't know. While we don't reveal what will be available at shows in advance, LegionsCon is one where we have quite a bit. And I can't believe I'm about to say this because he's sitting right here. We're almost sold out of that figure completely. It has been a very good seller for us. So it's he's just shaking his head like, yeah, obviously. Look at it back there. It's freaking awesome. Yeah, I don't know if it'll be available at LegionsCon. Presumably, yes. If so, it'll be very limited numbers because we have very limited numbers left. So I see a lot of questions about will it be available here. Blanket statement. If you're asking about the Paladin, it will be available one other place, the Kickstarter in February for Mythic Legions, the role-playing game. So if you're asking me any other availability question other than, Jeremy, will it be available during the Kickstarter for Mythic Legions, the role-playing game? The answer is no. Okay, and here we go to Joe.
So sometimes accidents happen, and this is a pretty happy one. It was not designed to go with this, but I would say those flesh tones of those, like that kind of dark bluish gray along with this work pretty well. I'm holding on to this wing because It's an older prototype, and it's not fitting at the moment. But yeah, I would say that works really well and is super creepy. So whoever requested that, good call. Good call. Yeah, it's a wicked looking fella.
Very cool, Joel. Thanks a lot for that. Once again, a reminder, the Figure Obscura Jersey Devil is available on our website, storehorseman.com. It is a limited amount of stock left. So once those are gone, they're gone. Those are on the way to us now. They're on the water. I mean, we talked a lot about this last week, but those should be arriving actually pretty soon. And as soon as they arrive, all those pre-order customers that have placed an order in the last few weeks, those will start going out. And the latest Figure Obscura will start landing in people's hands. Will those weapons packs be available when each build goes up on the website? So the weapons come with the figures. That's part of it. We don't sell the weapons separately. That is part of when you buy the pre-built figure, that's in the package. That's part of what you're actually getting. So they will not be sold separately. That would be telling. Like, look at this. Like, I'm going to answer this. Will the biggest reveal, in your opinion, at LegionsCon be related to Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, Figure Obscura, or a special project? I can't answer that. I know the answer to that. Totally know what the answer is.
Oh.
Are we talking physically big, or are we talking?
I don't know. Like, there may be multiple things there that would be considered for different people the biggest announcement.
Clearly.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
To everyone's going to have a different opinion of what the biggest is.
Right. I mean, the good news is there's multiple announcements.
Yeah.
There's your takeaway.
Yes. I was more sure of what it was. Eric, not so sure. But that, I think, shows you the awesomeness that we have coming for you at that show. Will you guys do a LegionsCon guide for us newbies? Yeah, Omar, there's a number of other shows as well. Legions Lounge does a lot of like first time for newbies. I know Shooting the Shelf and Curtis and Jesse, they do stuff like that. What I will say is I will do one on my show as well as we get closer, but there is no shortage of people that will give you their advice. And the one piece of advice I'll tell you today is take it all in, because everything is different. I've said this multiple times. LegionsCon is in some ways intentionally like visiting a theme park. There's no right way to visit a theme park. It depends on what you are looking for on that particular visit. So what's going to be right for you is going to be different than what's right for somebody. But at a high level, there are definitely some things to know as a first-time visitor to LegionsCon. This community will not let you down. You're going to have a lot of information coming your way. See what else we got here. Yeah, Terrence saying there's going to be a guide on new to Mythics. I mean, what to do at LegionsCon as a first-timer is such great content that probably every Legion show is going to be addressing that in one way or another. Oh, Joe just handed me this. Appropriately, Sir Gerard, Suns Out, Guns Out. Look at that. Yes, Sir Gerard. I mean, I was going to say that, that bare torso, if you've got a Furious 4 set and you want to make Lord Bushati kind of fully flexed in Suns Out, Guns Out, you could do that. But even better, if you're just itching to get your Sir Gerard looking like this, I'm going to stop myself. I'm just like, thank you, Joe. This is very cool. Thank you for that. Way too punchy to be doing that tonight. So we're just going to drop that there. But yeah, another option. I mean, realistically, all kidding aside, we've done so many figures that use the red and black color scheme, Sir Gerard being one of them. Any of the Fury-ish kind of red skin parts, those red armor and black boots, any of those pieces, you're going to have a lot of pop and swap options because it is a color that we've used quite a bit in the line.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's purposely, a consistency in a lot of the color choices in the line for these reasons. I mean, and that's something Joe's always really on top of that, which is fantastic because, we may have a figure going and then he'll realize, you know what, let's tweak that red a little bit because it's going to match, this particular figure from 6 years ago. But it brings new life to like a figure that somebody may have sitting around for all that time. So yeah, I mean, it's nice to have somebody keeping an eye on that, above and beyond, the initial concepts on
for
these.
sure. We're going to go back to Joe, but just before we do so, I just want to point out, because it's relevant to what we were saying a few minutes ago, Nate Strong, one of the hosts of the Legions Lounge, says, tune into Legions Lounge, Road to LegionsCon starting this coming Monday. So they're getting that. I know that's
terrifying to me.
With that, we're out of breath over
exciting.
here. So.
It's exciting in general.
Yes, but it's
for me, it's a little.
We've got a lot
scary
of work left to do. And with that, we're going to go to Joe. Joe?
There we go. So, I'm really liking that. I've wanted a mostly red Minotaur for a while, so we can finally do this without needing a Krampus. That looks great. And of course, if you have the set, it comes with the hooves. I don't have them available, but you can put hooves on that, and that would work out pretty well. But hey, while we're at it, I've got a couple other Furious 4 heads here, so let's see what those look like. We got the collar on. I like to have the collar on. We have some kind of critters, so with the cat head on there. That's pretty wicked looking. Yeah, that's cool. And of course, this comes with the tail, so you can pop the tail in there and you have this kind of red cat barbarian. Real neat. And this looks pretty badass too. Yeah, there we go. So we have all these extra red Fury Orc heads around. That is wicked. Very cool. So yeah, happy to have this torso available with that extra arm articulation. Works out very nice. The Furies grow. What else do we have here that I may be able to put together? Somebody was asking if pauldrons fit on Jersey Devil. Let's see. And that's a little outside the purview, but it's only going to take a second. So we'll work with these. One of the holes in the back here is messed up, but yeah, that'll work. Very cool. All right, unless there's another request we want to shout out, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Joe. And we're actually coming up on the end of the show. So as a reminder, I will post all of these photos and information about this year's Legions Armory Experience on our social channels. I did see a handful of questions in there asking about LegionsCon, like what time does it start? Different things about LegionsCon specifically. Everything, all of that information you can get at legionscon.com. 2-day tickets, which we only pre-sell 2-day tickets. The single-day tickets are only available at the door. So when you go to LegionsCon, if you go to get a ticket, unfortunately, the ticket system we use, you have to pick a date. I can't pick a range. So it says that it's Saturday, but then it also says that it's a 2-day pass. So it's good for all weekend. If you buy the pass online, that's going to cover you the entire weekend of LegionsCon. It is a limited event. It is something that we have a set number of tickets for because we've got a set amount of space. And unlike many toy shows where kind of, people come and go throughout the day, everyone stays for LegionsCon. They spend the entire weekend with us, and we're so happy that they do so. But as part of that, we got to make sure that we have enough room to accommodate everybody. So if you've been waiting to get your LegionsCon tickets, don't wait too long, because a lot of cool stuff going to be coming this year. Reveals that we're going to have, the Legions Armory Experience, the Crossroads figures, those are going to be available. A lot of cool stuff. Joe, thank you very much. You excited about this year's Armory Experience?
You have no idea, and I'm so glad that we were able to reveal it tonight, share with everybody, so we can all start talking about and get our ideas flowing for what we want to do.
So these two guys right here, Big Greg, Joe, they are the two that last year did a wonderful job of literally helping people through. So if you are new to Legions and you're coming to LegionsCon and you want to be a part of this and you've never popped and swapped a figure, and the idea of doing something like that kind of freaks you out, they're going to take care of you. They're going to walk you through what the options are. They're going to give you some ideas of what parts may look well together. These two are absolute pros when it comes to this stuff. They will take care of you at LegionsCon 2025.
That's the plan.
Any last words before we let all these wonderful people go for the night? No? Awesome. Well, thank you all very much for joining us this evening. Eric, thank you very much for doing this for the second week in a row with me.
My pleasure.
We've never done 3 in a row. Should we go for 3 in a row?
I don't know. Let's see.
Let's see. I don't know if we have any. I mean, do we have anything left to reveal? I don't know. You'll have to tune in next week to see what the possibilities are.
Can't say.
Huh. Almost a resemblance there. Did we just sneak that in? Did that just happen? Maybe.